Hello again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. And today we're going to be making the Bruges Lace Spiral Shawl. Yes, I love how easy and quick Bruges Lace works up, and I thought it would be interesting to create a circular shaped shawl starting from the center, working our way out, and this was the result. I'm rather pleased with it. For those of you that are familiar with Bruges Lace, you might have seen some of my other videos on various Bruges Lace projects, a scarf, a shawl, what have you. This a little bit different. We're going to be, utilizing some different techniques with the Bruges Lace to create our spiral. Now, for this particular piece, I used Red Heart Super Saver Ombre, and today we're going to be using the same thing once again. For those of you that aren't aware, it is 482 yards. It is acrylic machine washable, and today we are going to be using the True Blue colorway, and also going to be using a 6mm, my focus is funky, 6mm size J crochet hook, and basically, Bruges Lace, for those of you that are not familiar, Bruges Lace is you're essentially creating a tape with double crochets and chain stitch loops on either side. And then as you go, you are joining your loops to pre-existing loops to create your piece. Now the trick is, since we're starting from the center, we need to do a bit of increasing on the tape, and I worked up a little bit of an example right here. And so it's a matter of increasing the tape, but we also need to increase the size of the stitches to create a curvature of this increase. Don't worry, I'll walk you through it. So that being said, let's get started. All right, so round one. The tape itself is done in rows, but we are also going in the round, so round one. And one more thing that you're going to need, you are going to need a stitch marker. You could always use a scrap of yarn if you don't have one of these, that's totally fine. But you are going to need somewhere to mark your place. Okay, so start off by doing a slip knot and a chaining of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then into that first chain, single crochet. All right, so we've got our first loop. Now, unlike most Bruges Lace where it has loops on both sides, we're going to start our first round where the loops are on the outside of our piece. The inside, no loops. And so for the second row, if you will, chain up 1, turn the work, and into that single crochet and half double crochet. We're doing an increase, and we're also increasing the size of the stitches as we go. So I've got my single, now I need a half double. There we go. And then chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and turn the work. Okay, going to maintain our stitch count going back, so it's going to be a half double and a single. Pardon me. All right, half double, and then a single in the single. There we go. All right, and then chain up 1, turn the work. Now we need to increase again, so it's going to be a single and half double in the first stitch, and then a double in the next. So single and half double into that same stitch, and then a double crochet into the next stitch, behave, Come on, work with me. Thank you. Okay, double crochet. So we're increasing the size of the stitches as well as the count of the stitches. Okay, chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn the work. So it's going to be double, half, single. Double, half, and single. So we've got 3 loops. We need a total of 8 for our first round, but we're getting there. We're getting there. All right, so chain 1, turn the work. We need to increase once again. So it's going to be a single and a half double in the first stitch, and then 2 doubles. So single, half double into that first stitch, and then double, double. Double, and double. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn the work. So it's going to be double, double, half, single. Double. Double. Half, and single. So at this point, we don't need to increase anymore. However, we still do need to keep up the increasing and decreasing of the size of the stitches for our remaining 4 loops. So continuing right along by chaining up 1, turn the work, and it's going to be, again, a single, half, double, double. Single, half, double, and double. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn the work. Double, double, half, single. Double, double, half, and single. All right, so we have a total of 5. We just need 3 more, and then we will be good for this row. Round. Yes, round. All right, so continuing right along, and by the way, what I'm doing right now, this is the hardest part of the entire project. So as soon as we're done with the first round, it's easy street, trust me. So going to keep on keeping on by chaining 1, turn the work, single, half, double, double, single, half, double, double, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn the work, double, double, half, single. Double, double, half, and single. So how many do we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 2 more. So you can see we have this curvature going on here because of our, the increasing and decreasing of the stitches accordingly. So continuing right along by chaining 1, turn the work, single, half, double, double, single, half, double, double, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn the work, double, double, half, single, double, double, half, and single. Okay, where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, we're so close. We are so close. Okay, chain 1, turn the work, single, half, double, double, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn the work, double, double, half, and single. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. Okay, so laying out my piece, let me just get my tails out of the way. Laying out my piece, you can see that right now we have the beginnings of our spiral. Now, there are other ways of also creating loops on the inside as well, and then joining them together. Personally, I think it looks just fine with this nice open space in the center. But at this point, we are going to join our circle so that we can continue going around in a spiral fashion. Okay, so we're about to begin round 2. Before we do, it's at this point that you're going to want to take your stitch marker and put it into the 8th loop that we have here as well. There we go. That way we know exactly how many loops, per round. Now, when you're increasing, if you're familiar with increasing in the round, like when you're making a hat or something like that, it's usually 2 increases for every stitch, and then every other stitch, and then every other stitch. Well, that's essentially what we're going to be doing with this format here. So technically speaking, you could make this piece as big as you want to, as long as you keep increasing at a steady rate. Now, because we only have 8 increase points, if you keep going ad infinitum, you will eventually see that it is essentially an octagon shape. So, it won't get that astronomically big, don't worry. Chances are you're only going to need 1 to 2 skeins of this yarn, but I digress. So to keep going as prescribed, we now need to join to our first loop. And this is where we're going to actually do our first increase. So start by chaining 2, then the 3, 4, 5 that we would normally do. The third stitch is going to be a slip stitch into this loop here, that first loop that we created, slip stitch, and then 2 more chains, and that equals our 5. Then turning and going back to where we started, we also need to now increase the size of our stitches. So instead of a single, half, double, double, we're going to start with a, a half, then a double, 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 and then eventually we'll get all the way through. So half double, and then double, 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 and double. Okay, chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn the work. And now it's going to be 4 doubles. So yeah. Okay, into that first stitch, double, 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 and double into that half. There we go. Now, this first loop that we went into, this needs to be increased. So, chain 2, slip stitch into that same loop that we went in before, connecting here, same one. So, chain 2, slip stitch into that loop, chain 2, and turn, and then 4 doubles going back. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, let me just get rid of this tangle. So that is our first increase. Now, because this is the first increase round, each of these loops we have to go into twice. So as you can see, this was our first loop right here, and we have 2 loops going into it. We need to do that with 8 in total. So when we did our first round, we finished up with 8 loops. This second round, we need to finish up with a total of 16 loops. It's doubling for now, and it's just going to be an increase of 8 every round. So let's continue on by chaining up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn the work. Double into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're not going to go into this loop that we went into before. We need to go into the next loop. So chain 2, slip stitch into the next loop, chain 2, turn the work, and then going to go back on our tape here. So 4 doubles. 1, 2, almost had it. 3 and 4, chain 5. Turn the work. 4 doubles across. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now this present loop we've only gone into once. We need to go in again, just like we did down here. So chain 2, slip stitch into this loop, chain 2, turn, and then 4 doubles going back. So we're going to do this into each of the initial 8 loops that we created until we reach our marker. And we have a total of 16 outer edge loops. And that's really all there is to it. So chain 5, and turn, double in the next 4, there we go, chain 2, and we've already gone into this loop twice with our 2 loops, so we go into the next one, slip stitch into the next loop, chain 2, and turn, 4 doubles, chain 5, and turn, double into the next 4 stitches, ooh, almost, chain 2, going into that same loop, slip stitch, chain 2, and working our way back with 4 doubles. And that's really all there is to it for the rest of this round. It's really, really that simple. Just making sure that you go into each of the loops twice so that you have an even increase. So let's keep working on this together for now, I think. All right, let's keep going. All right, so moving right along, going to chain up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and turn. Also, once your piece gets rather large, you don't have to turn the entire thing. I'll show you what I'm talking about later. So 4 doubles, 1, 2, 3, and 4, chain 2. Now we already went into this loop twice. As you can see, we have our 2 joinings there. So skipping ahead to the next, slip stitch, chain 2, and flip, 4 doubles back. Also, once you get into the groove of this project, you can totally go on autopilot. And it, like I said, it works up really fast when you get into that groove. Chain up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 doubles across, 1, 2, 3, and, yep, 4, chain 2. Okay, we've only gone into this loop once, so let's go back in with a slip stitch, chain 2, and flip. 4 doubles going back. There we go, chain 5, and flip, 4 doubles going forward, as far as what yarn I would recommend, I would say really any weight of yarn is just fine. I wouldn't suggest anything thicker than a weight of 4. 3, 2, 1, yeah, go for it. As far as hook size, I would say, offhand, whatever hook is recommended with that weight of yarn. Okay, so we already went into this loop twice, as you can see. So going on to the next one with a slip stitch, chain 2, and flip. 4 going back to the outside edge. As far as different colorways, I think that ombres look gorgeous with this particular design. If you have a colorway that is a solid block of color and then it changes in another solid block of color, you're going to end up creating, sort of like a bullseye ring effect. That could be cool too. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and turn. 4 doubles going across. Solids, of course, also would work really well, although I think that a quick changing variegated might be a little too hectic and busy for this particular piece. Just personal opinion. Okay, we've only gone into this loop once, so let's go back in again. Chain 2 and slip. There we go. Chain 2 and turn. 4 doubles going back to the outer edge. And one more. Chain 5. And turn. 4 doubles going in. There we go. Chain 2. We did 2 joins in this ring, so we have to go to the next ring. So slip stitch into that next ring, chain 2, and flip. 4 doubles going back out. Chain 5. And flip. 4 doubles going in. There we go. Pull out a little bit more yarn. It happens. Okay. Now we've only gone into this once, so chain 2 and slip stitch into that same loop. Chain 2, flip, and work back. 4 doubles back out. There we go. Chain 5. And flip. Okay, we're getting close. This is why the marker is important. Okay. 4 doubles going in. There we go. Actually, I missed apply. That's no good. There we go. That's better. Chain 2. Okay. Now, we went into this loop twice over. You can see these 2 joins. So, going to the next loop with a slip stitch. Chain 2. And turn. 4 doubles going back out. Chain 5. And turn. 4 doubles going in. There we go. Chain 2. Okay, we only went in once, so we got to go in again with a slip stitch. Chain 2 and flip. 4 doubles going back out. More yarn. That's 3 and 4. Chain 5. And turn. Okay, we're almost there. All right, we're getting there. All right, so just going to scoot my ring to the side there. Probably gonna have to do it again. All right, so I chained up 5, 4 doubles going in. Okay, and that's 2. And 3 and 4. Chain 2. Now we went in twice into this loop, so yes, we have to go into this last loop with a slip stitch. Chain 2 and turn. 4 doubles going out. Chain 5 and turn. 4 doubles going in. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 2 and slip stitch into that same loop. Chain 2 and turn. 4 doubles going out. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and turn. And then 4 doubles going in. Now at this point, if my calculations are correct, we should have a total of 16 loops around our outer edge. Okay, let's check it out, shall we? Okay, starting off with the one that is not marked, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Perfect. That is exactly what we need. Yes. So at this point, take your stitch marker out and then pop it into the last loop that we just made. And there you go. So that is the end of round 2. Now, it's quite a round, I know, but we have made some really beautiful progress thus far. And from here, it's really, really, really simple to keep going. So we have our stitch marker here, and we're going to keep going around and around and around in the spiral, and with our increases at regular intervals. Now, the second round that we did, it was an increase in every loop all the way around. The following round, it's going to be every other loop that we do an increase. And it's going to keep going on in that same sort of fashion. Every time we do a round, we're only going to be increasing 8 per round. So we have 16 now. The following round, round 3, is going to have, at the end of it, when we reach the marker again, it's going to have a total of 24 of these outer edge loops, and so on and so forth as your piece keeps going. So, you know what? let's keep going. All right. Okay, so for round 3, like I said before, it's just a matter of increasing every other of these loops. This would be the increase. Now, you could go about it in one of two ways. Start with the increase or start with the skip. Either way is totally fine. I'm going to start with the increase, and then I'll do the regular one. So, going to chain 2, going into this next loop with a slip stitch, chain 2, and like I said before, you don't necessarily have to flip your entire piece at this point. You could just flip over your outer edge and double crochet back out. Makes it a little bit easier. So got my 4 doubles. And then chain 5. And then flip it back out. 4 double crochets in. There we go. Chain 2, and going into the same one with a slip stitch, chain 2, flip over the tail, and then 4 doubles out. So far it's been the same, but I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so I've got my 4 doubles out, chain 5, flip back out, 4 doubles going in, okay, that's 2, 3, and 4, chain 2. Going to go to the next one with our slip stitch, chain 2, flipping it back out, and then 4 doubles going out. Now, this one that I just went into is not going to be an increase. It's just going to have a loop for a loop. We still have to go into the loop, but we're not going to increase it. That's the only difference. So chain 5. Okay, 4 doubles going in. 1, 2, 3, and 4, chain 2. Now, so we have an increase, a regular. This next one is going to be another increase. So skipping ahead to that next loop, slip stitch in, chain 2, and flip. 4 doubles going out. Okay, and then 5 chains at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and turn. 4 doubles going in. It's 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so yes, this was an increase, a regular. This one needs to be the increase. So going into the same one, chain 2, slip stitch into that same loop, chain 2, and flip. 4 doubles going out. And that, my dears, is how you're going to work the rest of round 3. Chain 5 and flip, 4 doubles going in, and I got a bit of a tangle here. There we go. Okay, so this we just did an increase, so this next one is going to be a regular, no increase. So chain 2, slip into the next one, chain 2, and work our way back with 4 doubles. So if you're familiar with working in the round, the increasing will be very, very straightforward for you. But, I'm going to write it out just a little bit. So bear with me. I'll be right back. All right, so I sort of briefly wrote out, the formula for how you're going to be going about this. Now we went with round 2, we increased every loop, so then we ended up with a total of 16 loops. We went from 8 to 16. Round 3, it's an increase every other loop, so we went from 16 to 24. Then round 4, it's going to be the same sort of thing. Instead of every other loop, it's going to be your increase and then 2 regular loops. So it's, increase, 2 regulars, increase, 2 regulars, etc. And then at the end of round 4, you'll have a total of 32 loops. Round 5, you increase, then 3 regular loops, etc., etc., until you have a total of 40 outside loops. Round 6, you increase, and then you have 4 regular loops. You increase 4 regular loops until you have a total of 48 loops on the outside edge. And you would keep going until your piece is as big as you want it to be, just being sure to keep your increase points. And keep moving your little stitch marker as you go. Use this as your friendly little guide. It helps, trust me, because when you're tooling along and doing your thing, it's very easy to lose track of where you're at. So this little guy is very, very handy. And then when you reach this point, go back and count your loops. Are you on point? And that is really all there is to it for the rest of the project. Now, I'm going to keep working on this off camera. And then when I'm about ready to finish, I'm going to show you how you can finish off your piece with a nice tapered edge at the end so that it isn't just this sort of snail shell looking edge here. It'll be a little bit more, streamlined. So that being said, I really hope that this here makes sense. And this being noted, yes, my handwriting is atrocious. Also, I don't have an actual written pattern for this. I decided to just sort of wing it. I hope that's all right. So keep stitching, keep following along with your rate of increase, and I will meet back up with you. All right, you can do this. Go for it. Hello again. All right, so I've been crocheting along and I finished a total of 11 rounds. You can, of course, go bigger if you want to, but I think that 2 skeins, that suits me just fine. So, as you can see here, we have our increase here, and then I've got a total of 9 regularly worked loops, and this is the end of round 11 right here. And then if I were to keep going, well, got an increase right here for the beginning of round 12. But I'm not going to keep going for the full round of round 12. No, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to start to taper our piece right here so that it has a nice clean and streamlined edge. And I'm going to show you that right now. All right, so to start the taper, I'm going to start the row as normal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so we have a total of 4 doubles. Well, we're going to start our decrease. Going to double in the first 2 stitches. So that's double and double. And then the next 2 doubles, double them together. So start the double, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and then pull through all 3. Now, to help along and not make the decrease so dramatic, we're going to do 3 doubles on the way back. So chain 2 and slip stitch into the loop, chain 2, and then turn the work. And then instead of continuing to decrease, we're just going to do 3 doubles on the way back. That way it's going to have a slow tapering as opposed to one that's very extreme and abrupt. So a double in each, so that's 3 doubles, like so. Then chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn the work. And we're going to do another decrease. So we have 3 doubles. Well, we're going to go down to 2. So into the first stitch, double. And then over the next 2 stitches, decrease. So yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2. Yarn over, into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and then pull through all 3. There we go. So we went from 3 down to technically 2, but we're going to finish up the 2 here. So chain 2, slip stitch into the next loop, chain 2, and then 2 double crochets on the way back. 1 and 2, chain up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn the work. And then for the pièce de résistance, we're going to decrease these 2. So going into that first double, pulling up a loop, pull through 2, pulling up a loop, pull through 2, and then pull through all 3. So we have a nice pointed decrease. And then, you know what, instead of chaining 2 and doing a slip stitch into the next loop, just go right in with a slip stitch. And we will nip that in the bud right there. So that being said, we have a nice, slowly, gradually shrinking down and tapering bit of Bruges Lace tape right there. Very, very pretty and effective. And so at this point, all I have to do is cut my tail, pull out the loop, sew in the end, and you are done. Alrighty, my dears, so that's going to conclude today's tutorial on how to make a Bruges Lace spiral shawl. I really hope that you liked it, and if you did, please give a little thumbs up button down below. You know that I appreciate your appreciation as always. And for those of you that are wondering, this can be used for more than just a shawl if you are of a mind to. You could use this as a rather schmancy tablecloth or perhaps a coverlet. It doesn't have to be just a shawl, but that's the first thing that comes into my head when I see this piece. So that being said, I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'm really interested in your feedback. What sort of yarn are you going to use? What sort of applications? Always interested to hear what you guys have to say. And you know what to do until next time, right? I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching, and please, stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for joining me, and have a great day. Bye for now.